Welcome to Mor-In podcast. I'm your host, Josh Morin, co-founder and vice president of Field Supplements, as well as sobriety, woke, business, and wellness coach. Mor-In delivers an array of content based on marketing, health and fitness, personal branding, addiction, and often goes down the rabbit hole of conspiracy and the truth. If you seek to better understand the inner workings of human performance, consciousness, business, and humanity, you have come to the right place. Thank you for tuning in and tagging along. Let's get today's podcast started. What's up, everyone? It's a beautiful Sunday. Rather, Saturday was yesterday. We are on a Sunday, man. It is episode 6 of 30 for my 30 for 30. Once again, thank you guys for hopping on today's podcast, because it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. And I've changed some things up, as you guys can see. First and foremost, I changed the framing of the podcast. I felt like the wide-angle blog style where you could see my legs and wasn't quite close enough to my face wasn't the move. So I went to more of a portrait view, took in some framing, as well as I dropped the mic, made this more comfortable so my neck's not like, what's going on, guys? So I think this is better. And today, if you haven't noticed, I'm not wearing a hat. And all I got to say about that is this quarantine is really, really doing a number on my style, man. I feel like everybody, guys and girls included, are going to walk out of this quarantine looking like the Cookie Monster off of Sesame Street with their eyebrows all furry and crazy-like and their hair all bushy and wild. And that's exactly how I feel. But you know what? There has been a few requests and a few really awesome assessments of the podcast from some people that I really value their input, and a few things that they offered to me I have done. I changed the microphone to be a little bit lower. I changed the framing to be closer to myself, as well as I took my hat off, and I'm giving you guys a better viewing experience. And that's what I want to cover in today's podcast is oftentimes we get lost in when we want to start something or we're to start something new. We want to be perfect at it. We want to have the absolute look and vision that we have always wanted, and we want everything to be perfect from the beginning. But most times, perfection leads to procrastination, and you find yourself getting ready to get ready. You have your desk organized, and you have all the materials just perfectly organized and piled up, and you have everything set up perfectly, but you have yet to begin to start because that perfection has led to the procrastination and your unwillingness to begin and to start. And so that is called getting ready to get ready. And what I wanted today's podcast to be is to talk about progression and production over perfection. Whereas production will always be greater than perfection. Why? Because perfection is going to leave you in the dust, where you're going to find yourself getting ready to get ready to one day look back and say, man, I could have started this project months ago. I could have started this project years ago. And man, look at where I could have been if I would have just started then and not worried about being perfect, but worried about more focused on, I don't like the word worried because worried is a weak word, more committed and focused on starting and committing and being consistent and having progress over time, consistency over time, growth over time, instead of worrying about being perfect. And that's what today's podcast is about. I know all of us, me included, have found ourselves procrastinating on a project that we wanted to be perfect on. But what I want you guys to understand, and for not only this podcast, but from those who started from the beginning and those who will join in 1,000 episodes down the road, because I promise you, this isn't something I'm just going to do for a little short period of time. This is something I'm going to do and commit to all the time and build, because this is a dream of mine. And if I have 25 people listening or 2,500 or 25,000 people listening, I'm going to put the same amount of energy and effort and commitment into every single podcast because it matters that much to me, because that is my purpose and my passion. But one thing that I won't focus on is perfection. I'm going to focus on progress. Why? Because progress and production is is tenfold more important than perfection. So, to give you an example, this podcast started off with no video. I just started off and the sound quality was horrible. The sound quality was just horrendous. There was so much buzzing and and hissing sounds, and I couldn't figure it out. And I spent hours and hours and hours trying to figure out the sound. I kind of figured out the sound. I got the sound quality to come up, and then I got the podcast finally on YouTube instead of just being on SoundCloud. And then I took the leap, and I decided to film the podcast. And the first handful of them weren't the greatest. They didn't look that professional. They were a little dark. They were a little gloomy. You couldn't see my face that great. I was wearing a hat. You could see my kneecaps and instead of my face, and my neck was all crooked trying to talk into the microphone, and the sound quality wasn't that great. And then I took some advice from some people and made a couple adjustments, and then I changed the framing, and now here I am with an adjustment with the microphone, and decided I needed to move it a little bit closer to myself, put it underneath me instead of over here, so I'm not going like this and speaking outside the microphone, but said I'm just talking normal and I'm more comfortable, because some of the advice that was given to me, especially one by my friend Sammy Listo, he says, man, when your neck's all crooked like that, it's probably hard to deliver the content because you're uncomfortable. Whether you think that you're uncomfortable or not, you're probably not the most in your body as possible, because our body works mechanically in alignment. And the more that you could be in alignment, it's like if I was in a stance, right? If I was in any sort of stance to deliver a tackle or catch a pass or deliver a throw or hit a takedown or a move, what should you be in? You should be in your stance. You should be on the balls of your feet, ready to attack, right? And that's why I'm now delivering this content in a much more comfortable position. When my head was all cracked like this, man, I felt like maybe I was a little uncomfortable, and I was having to rape the microphone. My face had to be here because I couldn't get the sound quality to where I wanted it to be, and that's something I'm still working on consistently. So bear with me through this, and I just want to show the progression of this podcast, and that's with anything in life. I've seen it where people are so afraid to start. They're so afraid to start because they got to be perfect. But I tell you, put out the content, make the videos, take the photos, create the content, write the posts, write the blog, start your podcast, start your garden, start the build, whatever it is that you want to build or create, cultivate. That's the key to success, just starting. Baptism by fire is something that I've always believed in, is creating the content, delivering, and then finding a way to create it, the experience, and make the experience better over time. That's going to come with consistency. That's going to come with your commitment to being able to find ways to better improve and make slight adjustments daily on what you're doing. That's where we get caught up most in life, is we think success has to be like this overnight thing. We're like, we always think, well, what's the fastest way to lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds in a month? What's the fastest way to gain weight? What's the fastest way to go 0 to 10,000 followers on Instagram or Facebook? What's the fastest way to... We're always trying to find the fastest way, instead of realizing that it's not the fastest way that gets us there. It's the most consistent way that gets us there, with daily action steps taken each and every single day. And then as you progress through your journey, you find ways to adapt, change, overcome, and progress. That's what it's about. Because if you try to be perfect from right out the gates, you'll never start. You'll never begin. You'll play the story over and over in your head about why you're not good enough, why it's not good enough to post, and you'll be sitting there contemplating the content that you are posting. And that's not what this is about. If you have something to share and you've been sitting on content, maybe you've created a video, or you have music, or you have art, or you have a poem, or you have something that you want to share with the world and you want to start sharing, start to share that shit, baby. Now is the time. Now is the time more than ever. It doesn't have to be perfect. Who gives a fuck about the likes? Who gives a fuck about who thinks that it's perfect or not? Who cares? All that matters is if you have this over time, be consistent with it, stick to the process, make progress each and every single day, take critical assessment from people who matter most, and begin to understand that this is a long game. We all want to play the short game. We all want to get there the fastest. But who wants to stick into the game and commit to the process longest? That is the key to success. I'm willing to play the long game, baby. If this takes me 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, so be it. I'm still a young lad in 20 years. I'll be 46 years old, still in the best shape of my life. That's what you got to commit to. One thing per day, every day, makes 365 in a year. That's like this. As I always tell people when it comes to weight loss, people are like, well, I'm not losing weight fast enough. And I'm like, well, if you can lose 1 pound of body fat per week, which is still a lot, 1 pound of body fat per week, that's a 500 calorie deficit per day for 3,500 calories per week. If you can do 1 pound of actual fat per week, guess what? That's 52 pounds of fat in a year. 52 pounds of fat in a year. But everybody wants to lose 20 or 30 pounds in a month instead of committing to the process. Addicts want that on-demand, right now mentality. I need it now. And we live in a society where we want it now. We're in that fast food era where we want shit on demand. We want it now. If it's not fast enough, it's not good enough. And we got to get our heads out of that process. We got to understand that not everything in life is going to be on demand, and the things that are most important in life and the things that are worthwhile are instant. You can't make a beautiful veggie stir fry in 30 seconds. Sure, you can go to McDonald's and get something done and it's done in 90 seconds, but look at the quality of that compared to if you were to make a home meal, a meal that was nutritious. Sure, you could plug in and put a meal in the microwave, but if you made that meal yourself, the nutritional value of the meal, I don't give a shit what's in the meal or how healthy that they say it is or what goes into it. If you make it yourself and you thrive and get the ingredients yourself and then you create it, it's going to take a little bit longer, but on the long haul, the quality is tenfold. And that's what success is about. That's what progress is about, is buying into the process that it's not always going to be perfect. And we have to get out of our heads that we have to be perfect because it's not the truth. Delivering content is way more important. Delivering your message is more important. Delivering your art is more important. Delivering your purpose is more important than being perfect. Perfect will keep you procrastinating. Procrastination will keep you in the space that you're in. And the space that you're in is not delivering and designing the life and the results that you want. Now, if it is, then there's really nothing to worry about. But if you're watching this podcast, most of us are working towards being our best self. Most of us have decided to take the leap and are on a path of progress, on a path of conscious awakening, a path to grow like a plant that's getting water. We're on that path. But it's just like the story of the bamboo tree. Is in the first 5 years of the bamboo tree, it only grows like 3 to 5 feet. But then in a 6-week time period, it grows from 3 to 5 feet, it shoots in the air over 50 to 60 feet. But it took 5 years to do that. Now, could you imagine if you started something that you wanted to start today, and in 5 years from now, maybe you didn't have much progress in the world of numbers and analytics, but you developed your skill set over time? You got more articulate. Your designs got better. Your music became higher quality. Your writing got better. And each and every single day you chipped away, and each and every single day you got better. You progressed. Maybe not in the world of analytics, but get your head out of likes. Get your head out of comments. Get your head out of views. There's like 30 people who view this, but one day there's going to be 30,000. And the reason why I know that is because time over consistency. If it takes me 10, 20, 30 years, it does not matter. Whatever it takes, I will do it in the realm of consistency. I'm not going to force it, but what I can do each and every day is chip away. And that's what you can do, is chip away, chip away, chip away, chip away. And as you chip away, you'll begin to see the small changes. And you'll be able to look back from a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and you'll be like, whoa, man, Look how much I've changed over this time. Look how much my life is now different because I decided to step up and do what I wanted to do on that day. Instead of being in your head, being fearful of the responsibility of success, because I truly don't believe we're scared of failure, because being a failure and not being successful is easy. It's easy not to put out the content. It's easy not to be committed. It's easy not to put yourself out there to keep yourself accountable. It's easy to do those things. What's hard, what takes commitment, what takes responsibility is success. Responsibility takes success to eat right every single day. Success takes the responsibility to do the content every single day, to write the vlogs, to do the podcasts, to make the posts, to take the photos, to collaborate with the people that need to be collaborated with, to schedule the meetings. That's what takes responsibility. But once you step into success and once you take on that responsibility head on, it's rather easy. I tell you what, being in a state of flow is much easier than being in the state of resistance. Because in the state of resistance, you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can do that. It sounds pretty hard. 30 podcasts in 30 days. I've never podcasted before. I've never done any podcasting before, so I don't know how it's going to be done. This whole video thing, I better not do it because I better get 6 months, a year in. I better develop my skills better so I feel that I can make cuts and make adjustments and do the edits if I have to, and nobody can tell. But I tell you what, baptism by fire 100% of the time is going to get you there. And if you're looking for something to get you there faster, it's going to get you there faster than sitting on your ass and watching the game of life play before your eyes. It's time to get off the bench, baby. It's time to get into the game. So if there's something that you've been procrastinating on today's the last day, baby. Today's the last day. It's time to make a list, check it twice, and then execute. That's the key to success. Progress over perfection wins every single day of the week. And as you progress, you'll get better. I promise. Look at the podcast already. It's gone from really shitty angle with dark and gloomy. And I was wearing a hat. You could see my kneecaps. My head was all crooked. I still definitely require some adjustments on the microphone. But I'm not getting quite the sound quality that I need to get. So I'm going to make some more adjustments. But this is definitely better. And that's what I want to show to you guys is if you slowly make the adjustments in your life, you will get better over time. But you have to start pumping out that content if you are wanting to grow something. That's today's message. I appreciate every single one of you joining in and tagging along on More Than No podcast. This is episode 6 of 30 for my 30 for 30 podcast series that I'm running this month. Be sure to check out moreintheknow.org. That's my personal website. I do success coaching as well as, of course, all broadcasting, blogs. Behind me, the best and highest quality supplements on the market, Field Supplements. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram at fieldsupplements.com and stay in the know. And follow my Instagram page at Morin the Know. That's MorinTheKnow. You guys have a blessed Sunday.